Hi, my name is Jeroen Hoppe. I'm the author of the Clapham property blog, and today I'm going to give you 5 really good reasons why you should be investing in buy-to-let, even though we've got tax changes like Section 24 coming up. Right, so I'll start off with saying that a recent poll done by the RICS, the Royal Institute of Chartered Surveyors, they asked a load of surveyors what they thought of the buy-to-let market, and nearly 2/3 of them actually said that more landlords would leave the buy-to-let sector than enter it. Now, this is really positive news because what's happening is there's going to be less landlords in the market, and that means that there'll be less rental properties available. And what happens when there's a shortage of supply? That's right, prices go up. So this leads on to my second point, which is that rents will rise. Rents will actually outpace, the rent rises will outpace the rises in the house prices. So what that means is that yields will go up. So in the past, where landlords, say in London for example, have been looking at properties with a 5, maybe even a 4% return, they can now expect greater returns from their investments. So your money in the bank is making 0.1, 0.5%. Buy-to-let was always relatively attractive in that sense, but it will now be even more attractive. I invest in London and I get yields of around 6 to 8% gross. Now, that's a pretty good yield. Read onto my other blog posts and watch my other videos, and I'll show you how that's done. But on to point number 3 in this video, there'll be less competition from rogue landlords and slum landlords. You've heard of the increase in regulation, so we've got the additional licensing, things like digital taxation, forcing all those rogue landlords and slum landlords to come out the woodworks and declare all their rental income. Now, a lot of those people have been doing this for years and years and years, and they probably don't want to continue doing it because it's not as profitable as it used to be for them. They don't really want to change their ways, so they're just going to sell up. That means that those properties are going to be available to buy at knockdown prices. So you can probably get yourself a very, very, very good deal on a new buy-to-let property if you spend some money refurbishing it and bringing it up to the current standard. So there's a lot of opportunity there. It's never been easier as well, and this is point number 4, to get finance on buy-to-let properties. Even though there have been increased restrictions on rental income versus the mortgage payments, they call that the rental stress test, what you'll find is there's actually about 1,700 buy-to-let mortgage products out there on the open market. So a lot to choose from, with rates as low as 2%. So now there's never been as good a time as now as to invest in a buy-to-let property, especially in London, where the startup price is relatively high, yes, granted, but there's a very, very strong rental demand as well. 5th, it's still relatively easy to make a good impact on the local rental market by buying a rundown property and refurbishing it to a very high standard. The private rental sector rather has always been plagued with developers that do things on the cheap, and I find that if you spend the extra money, people are more than happy to pay for good quality accommodation in the private rental sector. We've seen a trend over the last few years that people are renting longer. In fact, a recent poll has revealed that the average tenancy in the UK is now up to 4.5 years, and that's up from 20 months some time ago. This obviously varies region by region, and if you have a lot of people coming in from abroad, transient workers say, it does vary, but overall in the UK a tenancy lasts 4.5 years on average. It's a very long time, so people do want good quality accommodation and they do want to make it their home. I've actually got a surprise point number 6, which is that you can mitigate the effects of taxation as well by taking good tax advice and putting your properties in a limited company structure. Speak to your tax advisor for more information about that, but all is not lost with the Section 24. There are ways around it and you can still minimize the effects of tax. The effects of tax are not the be all and end all. What you'll actually find is that you can offset those losses, or increase costs rather, by making money in other areas in your rental portfolio. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed that quick burst of tips. If you would like to subscribe, just click below, like and comment and share, of course, if you found it valuable information. And I hope to see you next time for another episode of the video series.